and just let's pray and hope that my first silicone mold is a success. Oh my god, I'm so scared. It's kind of very sticky to the plate. I don't know. I'm just very excited. Hi guys, my name is Tom or TomV Makeup and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here to show you guys how I'm going to make the Maleficent prosthetic pieces out of encapsulated silicone. This is going to be a two-part video, otherwise it's going to be too long, and I wanted to film the process while I'm making this for your information. The second part, I'm going to show the finished result and how to do the application of the prosthetics. This is going to be on November the 31st, Halloween. I am not a prosthetic professional, so this is actually my first time making professional prosthetic pieces. I did have some experience with silicones in the past. For example, a few weeks ago, the Maleficent movie came out. I made the prosthetic pieces just out of, how did I make them? Oh, it's a kind of a foam and I don't have it here. Why don't I have it here? So I can show you guys. This is going to be very informational. You guys are gonna learn from my mistakes. If you head over to my Instagram, you can see me do a Maleficent makeup on myself because I loved the movie Maleficent and the Mistress of Evil, and it inspired me to create the prosthetic pieces and the horns and all of that jazz. I'm gonna show you guys how I made the silicone pieces of this look. You will see it's not perfect. That's why I'm remaking them because I have a commissioned job on Wednesday, next Wednesday, and I wanted to perfect the prosthetic pieces. So this is the first version of my prosthetic attempt of Maleficent and the Mistress of Evil. I can explain why it looks okay, because I put a lot of blur on the edges in After Effects, not on After Effects. On Final Cut Pro, I did a filter on my skin just to make everything blurry so that you don't see the ridges of the prosthetics. But of course, if you are not doing this for film or video, on the photos I photoshopped it, you want to have like a seamlessly smooth edge of the prosthetics. So how did I make the first pieces? Basically, I have my big head in plaster right here, and I'm just gonna take my camera and show you guys like this. So basically, you see my plaster head here. It's of course my face. It does not have the bottom piece because I do have a beard. I do have a beard and it's not possible to make this in plaster, and I don't want to shave. Anyway, so basically I started to sculpt the pieces on the skin. I removed them already because otherwise they would stick on there forever, I suppose. But I made them in some kind of clay. It's just like a normal clay. I didn't use any monster clay or whatsoever, nothing special. And I just sculpted the pieces of the cheekbones on this. I do have a picture, I will implement it right here. You see the pieces on the head. And then basically I kind of took plaster and I just whacked a lot of plaster on the sides of my head. I thought that this would be a okay mold, and it was okay, but it was very difficult basically to get a really good edge. It was really rough around the edges, as you see. And I filled these pieces with some kind of, and it's called, with the Crayon gel foam, or Gela Schaum, because this is a German brand. And this is basically the raw material that you get in this package. You buy this, I think it's €10 for, I think there's like 2 pieces inside. or maybe one, I don't know, but it's €1, and you basically just throw this into your microwave in a microwave resistant jar or whatever, plastic pot, and this melts. It kind of melts and then it boils up to a foam, and that's the point where you want to take it out and just pour it into your mold. If you pour it into your mold, it will harden very fast, so it's very fast to work with, and basically that's how I did this. But the pieces were very, very rough, and I couldn't get it really smooth or smooth it out. I did use some kind of a wax to make it a little bit more smoother, but you know, if you want to go out or I have a job, I want to make it perfect, that's not the way how to do it. So I often order things from Z Brothers. And like this one, this is not from Z Brothers, this is from Haunted Special Effects. This is going to be for another Halloween look that I'm going to do in the next few days. And basically this is a really professional and really good prosthetic, silicone prosthetic with a baldies thin layer of kind of a skin. And this is basically how I want to make my Maleficent prosthetics. Why do I want to make them myself? Because I cannot find them on the internet. So if you cannot find it, you just make it yourself. Because I couldn't find it on Z Brothers, and they are really two cool guys. I think they're brothers because it's Z Brothers Special Effects or on Instagram. And I texted them, look, I wanted to buy some stuff, but you don't have it on your store, so I have to make it myself, but I don't know how to get this really thin layer to, you know, help me with the application. And I'm really satisfied about your pieces. Can you please tell me how you made the pieces? And they kindly, immediately replied and just told me what products they use and this and that. So I went to the store and I bought a lot of silicone Platzil part A and B. That's to make your silicone, the prosthetics, these pieces. And I also bought silicone pigment in the color Flesh, just to color the prosthetics, because this is transparent, to color it before you pour it into your mold, to give it a more of a skin color. And with the silicone, it's smart to buy a bottle of Platzil Detner. This is basically because if you make silicone and you just mix the two parts together, it's going to be a really hard silicone that's not really bendable or kind of moves along with the skin. To make it more softer, you just pour 100% Detner into your silicone. And this will make it like a lot softer, and also if you have more smaller pieces that are more closer to the skin, it will move a lot easier on the skin or move along with your facial expressions. So basically those are the things that I need. And additionally, you need to kind of make the thin layer of baldies. If you're not familiar with baldies and you do not know what I'm talking about, baldies is basically a bald cap out of glotsam. They call it glotsam or baldies or whatever. It's to hide the hair of someone. Let's say if you have a movie and you have to make like a person look bald, but you do not want to cut off or shave their head for real, like Britney Spears did back in the day. You want to use some prosthetic piece, and this is called a baldie or a bald cap. You just flatten the hair, you put on the bald cap, and you just dissolve the edges of, yes, this material. It's the same, but that's like more of a balloon form. You tear it over the head, you glue it to the skin, and you just like melt the ridges or the edges of the cap into the skin with acetone or isopropyl alcohol. So now I did some research, of course, on how to make everything, and I sculpted new pieces out of monster clay. This is like a really, I don't know, let me just take a big chunk out of this. This is monster clay. This is what they use for special effects in the movies, let's say in Hollywood or whatnot. I know Rick Baker uses it, and this is very hard. very, very hard. This comes in a jar like this. This is the monster clay. This is a medium. You have soft and you have medium and hard. I heated up my oven on 150 degrees Celsius, and you can just put the whole jar into your oven, wait for 30 minutes, just stir it once in a while, and it will become liquid. If you take it out of the oven, you have for about, I don't know, maybe in kind of 5 minutes, the product will become a little bit more harder and more workable. So then I just started to sculpt the new pieces of Maleficent, not on my plaster head, but onto a plate. I know this is like not so professional, but I just like made it on my plate, like you see on the picture right here. So this I did with monster clay. I really enjoyed working with monster clay, and I will definitely make some other pieces on my plaster head. I want to do like a nose and stuff like that. But because it's like, this is mostly like a kind of a flat surface, and I thought it was just like clever to make it just on a flat surface. So I took this and made it on a plate. My second mistake was to buy alginate. Don't make the mistake to try, and after you have your mold, to pour your alginate into the molds, because alginate is not really made for multiple uses. Alginate is some kind of form. If you know Madame Tussauds, they have like a big you can like make a replica of your hand, like for example this. They make a big jar of alginate. You just mix 1 part water with 1 part alginate. You mix it, you have about 30 seconds to mix it, pour it into a jar, and just push your hand in it like this. And then within minutes it will harden, and you can like gently release your hand. They pour plaster into the alginate, and you just tear the alginate apart, because it's easily you can easily break it up into pieces. That's not the same for silicone, if you use it in a pure form and not do deadener inside. So basically I made these yesterday, and I just noticed that it stays like wet. Like, I don't know, you can see it. It's like a wet, the water is still coming out. And I thought it was not safe to basically use this to make my prosthetics, because it will take a lot of time to make them in silicone. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna mess up the moist in the alginate. It's gonna mess up or just disturb probably the silicone. Maybe I will get bubbles because the moist is still coming out. So that was not a good idea. It's a good idea if you use plaster to pour it in, because plaster does not have effect on water. It hardens. It's like a chemical reaction. So, but for this it was not a good idea. So don't do this. Also, if you're gonna take it out, it's gonna easily tear apart. You can see here it's already like ripping apart a little bit. So then, fortunately, the alginate did not destroy my original molds. So now, because I want to make these ones like a couple of times, I want to keep it, and if I want to make new jaws, new cheekbones, maybe some. I know I got a message after my video from Maleficent if I can make them or sell them. So maybe I will do that if it turns out perfect. Otherwise, I will not sell it, of course. So now I just mixed one part of part A and part B from the silicone Platsil. I just took it I have this measuring plate here, which kind of failed because when I was measuring the second part, suddenly the scale just turned off, and I don't know, I just had to do it on my, I had to eyeball how much I thought that was necessary to match like a 50-50 ratio. So then I poured it into I gave it a good stir, and then I poured it into last night I poured it into my molds. I did not use any deadener because I want this to be very firm and hard. So it's strong and it will last longer. If I would do Detner inside, it will be more like really soft and more skin-like. Then I had an issue. The molds itself had, now you can see like a few bubbles here and there, but yesterday this was like full of bubbles. And I do not have a vacuum machine to make the air bubbles come up. So I did a little bit of research and I just put this into the freezer overnight, and most of the bubbles were gone. Like I can see through I didn't color my silicone, so I can see through my silicone actually if the prosthetic is covered well enough, and also I see no bubbles very close, maybe one or two very close to the prosthetic, so that's good. This morning I took it out of the fridge and most of them were gone, so that's a good thing. The drying process takes longer if you do it in the fridge, because when I was feeling it this morning out of the fridge, it was still like sticky and a little bit like not so hard. I took it out, let it sit in my living room with the heating on for probably an hour, and then they were hard. So that's basically how I made these ones. So basically now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this on camera with you guys, I'm going to take the monster clay and tear it apart and just pray and hope that my first silicone mold is a success. After that, I'm going to say how I'm basically going to make it look like these. I'm going to take my sink cap. So that's like the stuff where they make the bolt caps, and this soft material out. I'm going to pour it into my airbrush. I'm also going to mix it. I have to look up the ratio, but I'm going to mix acetone with. I'm going to make the sink cap a lot thinner so it can go through my airbrush, and I'm going to spray. And I'm going to spray like I think 4 to 7 layers of the bolt cap with a 10 minutes interval between. I'm going to spray them so it has like a coating of this material. Then I'm going to mix one part of this with one part of this and do a little drop of that to color it. And I'm going to do 100%. So let's say if I have 50 grams of part A and 50 grams of part B, that makes 100 grams of silicone. I'm going to use 100%, that means 100 grams of the Detner to basically make it more soft. So then I'm going to, if my bolt cap material in my molds are dry, then I'm going to pour the silicone inside. I'm going to scrape the excess off. If that's dry, I'm going to again layer a few layers, 4 to 7 layers of the bolt cap onto the finished piece, just to encapsulate the silicone into the baldies, because this is going to make that a normal silicone like this is very hard to, you cannot stick this to your skin. Also, it's very hard to paint. If you want to do makeup on top of it, it's like impossible to do it. With a layer of the bolt cap material or the baldies, you can easily stick it to your skin. You can remove the edges very easily, and it's gonna have a coat of the baldies on top of it, so it's gonna be very easy to paint. So this is basically how I'm going to do the pieces, how I'm going to finish the pieces. Also, on my molds, I made a little, how do you say it, edge. As well, as you see here, I made a little edge just so that it holds, like you see on my prosthetics here, just so that if I want to apply the piece on my skin, it's going to be very easy. I'm going to tear this apart, I'm going to tear the edge gone, I'm going to be able to place them very easily onto my skin. Also, if you would not have this edge, this material would be floating, or maybe it will stick to itself. So that's why it's very clever to make like a ridge or an edge around your prosthetic piece, just so you have like a little bit of extra material of the baldies. All right, guys, I hope this was kind of informative to you. I am going to uncover the silicone pieces with you guys. Oh, this comes off very easily, like this. And I'm going to feel, yes, okay. Oh, this is so exciting. If this will be not perfect, and if it's going to be destroyed, I will have to mold and sculpt everything from scratch, and I will not be very happy. By the way, if somebody is looking to my video and you have some kind of tips or tricks for me to make it even better, just don't hesitate to let me know. I'm going to reveal, oh my god, I'm so scared. It's kind of very sticky to the plate. Maybe I should have, oh my god, it's coming off. Oh my god. I'm just hoping that I don't like tear. I'm doing it very slowly because I'm a very cautious person. Oh my god, I have no bubbles inside. There's no bubbles at all, and I can see like a lot of texture because into my, and this is like very smooth here. This is going to be so awesome to make. I just did not put it on my skin, so I hope everything fits. If I do it on Monday, I guess so. I don't know. I'm just very excited to pour them, to make the silicone, to pour it inside, do the baldies, and see my finished result. I will be so proud of myself. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you find it a little bit I hope it was a little bit informative for you guys if you want to try out. I know it's not a whole finished piece, but I will do an update about the finished product, and of course an application of the look that I'm going to do next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a like if you find it informative, or if you find it fun, or if you're just happy to see me again. And I'd like to see you next week on a new video. Also, subscribe to my channel and give me some love. Bye.